All right, wands at the ready, everyone, because we're about to take a deep dive straight into Hogwarts. We're shadowing Harry Potter on his very first trip to the magical school.
And trust me, there's a lot more to uncover than you might think.
Oh, absolutely. So much to discover.
It's going to be fun.
It really is. Okay, so we're going to start with Harry's last few weeks at the Dursleys. Remember them? They weren't exactly planning a going-away party for Harry, were they?
Not exactly the warmest send-off.
No, not at all. In fact, they were acting pretty bizarre, almost as if they were trying to pretend he didn't even exist. Why do you think that was?
Well, you got to remember what just happened. They got that howler from Dumbledore.
Oh, yeah. The magical yelling letter?
Exactly. A magical letter that screams its message. Imagine how unsettling that would be.
Yeah, definitely not something you see every day.
It's a blatant reminder of a world they can't control, a world they don't understand, and it terrifies them.
So it's not just about Harry being a burden, it's more like they're scared of magic, right?
Exactly. They see magic as this dangerous, disruptive force, and they'd rather just pretend it doesn't exist.
It's a bit like when people are prejudiced against something they don't understand, isn't it?
It is. Fear of the unknown, fear of the different.
Makes sense. Meanwhile, Harry's counting down the days until September 1st, like it's his escape route.
His ticket out of there.
But here's the thing. He's going to Hogwarts on a train.
What's train?
Yeah, a train. I mean, isn't that a bit mundane for a wizarding school?
It does seem a bit odd, doesn't it? But I think it actually tells us a lot about how the wizarding world interacts with the muggle world. It's all about blending in, maintaining secrecy.
Ah, I see. So it's like a secret handshake.
Exactly. For us, a train journey is just a way to get from point A to point B. But for Harry, it's symbolic. It's a crossing over, a journey from the ordinary world to the extraordinary.
I like that. A journey from the ordinary to the extraordinary.
Yeah.
All right, so let's fast forward to King's Cross Station, platform 9 3/4.
Where it all begins.
The Dursleys drop Harry off, laughing at him because this invisible platform, right? And then they just leave him there.
Stranded.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost funny, but for Harry, it must have been terrifying.
Absolutely. He's staying between two worlds, literally unsure where he belongs.
And it's like the wizarding world is testing him too, right? Like, can you figure this out?
It's a challenge, an initiation.
And luckily for Harry, he runs into the Weasleys.
What a contrast.
Oh my gosh, night and day, right? Compared to the Dursleys, they're loud, they're chaotic, but so warm and welcoming.
There's that instant sense of belonging.
Mrs. Weasley's fussing over Ron, the twins are already causing mischief, and Harry's just drawn to their easy familiarity with magic.
Like it's just a normal part of life.
Exactly.
And
It's like he's finally seeing what a real family should be like.
a place where he's celebrated, not just tolerated.
Yeah, and speaking of Ron, we quickly find out that he's got some insecurities about, living up to his older brothers.
The pressure of legacy.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine being in his shoes? All those overachieving brothers.
It's something a lot of us can relate to, right? That feeling of needing to measure up, especially in a family where everyone seems to excel.
For sure. And then there's magic itself. It's fascinating how Ron and Harry react so differently to it.
Two completely different perspectives.
Ron's grown up with magic his whole life, so for him, it's just normal, like turning his rat yellow, no big deal.
Second nature to him.
But for Harry, it's all brand new and exciting. Every little spell is a marvel.
Like seeing the world for the first time.
Right. And then enter Hermione Granger. Confident, already quoting textbooks from Hogwarts.
Bit of a know-it-all even.
Just a tad, haha, but super smart. She's such a contrast to Ron, who's a little more laid back about magic.
Two sides of the same coin.
Right. And then there's the food. Harry's hit with this explosion of magical treats, pumpkin pasties, cauldron cakes, and of course, those infamous Bertie Bots. Every flavor beans.
Every flavor, and I mean every flavor.
Oh yeah, booger flavor included. I think I'd stick to the chocolate frogs. At least you get those cool wizard cards.
God, I always loved collecting those cards. Remember Dumbledore's chamber music and 10-pin bowling? Not exactly what you'd expect from the most powerful wizard of all time.
Talk about hidden talents. And then we have Neville Longbottom. Poor guy is running around like crazy looking for his toad. Trevor, right? I mean, a toad is a pet. It seems kind of strange, doesn't it?
Well, it might seem strange to us, but in the wizarding world, magical creatures are more than just pets. They're companions, confidants, sometimes even extensions of their owners.
So there's a deeper meaning there, a connection between Neville and his toad.
Mhm.
And then, of course, we have the entrance of Draco Malfoy. our resident, spoiled, rich kid with a superiority complex.
Arrogant from the very first moment.
He makes it very clear that he thinks he's better than everyone else, especially those who aren't from pure-blood wizarding families.
And that prejudice, that sense of superiority, it really sets the stage for the conflicts that we see throughout the series.
It's a reminder that even in a world of magic, you still have those same problems with prejudice and elitism. But before things get too heavy, we have this moment of comic relief stabbers. Ron's rat bites Goyle.
Takes him by surprise.
It's like this little act of rebellion. Even a seemingly insignificant creature like Scabbers can have its moment of bravery. And then the train journey comes to an end. Imagine this. The sun setting, boats gliding across the Black Lake toward this magnificent castle silhouetted against the twilight sky.
The first glimpse of Hogwarts. It's breathtaking.
What a moment. It's more than just arriving at a school, isn't it? What's the feeling Rowling's trying to evoke here?
It's a transition, a symbolic crossing over. The boats, the lake, the castle, it all represents leaving the ordinary world behind and entering a realm of magic and possibility. And for Harry, it's this moment of awe and wonder, like his life is truly about to change forever.
And the brilliant thing is, we get to experience that awe and wonder right alongside him.
Exactly. It's a shared experience. It's magic.
Welcome back to our magical deep dive. Last time, we left Harry and the other first years at the edge of the Black Lake, right? Gazing up at Hogwarts.
That first glimpse of the castle.
I know. Breathtaking, isn't it? It really does feel like you're crossing over into another world.
It's such a powerful image. And it's not just about the physical journey, is it?
Right. We were talking about how the boat ride itself is like a symbol.
Exactly. It's like a visual representation of leaving the ordinary behind and entering a world where everything is extraordinary.
Leaving the Muggle world behind.
Right. It's a classic literary device, using a physical journey to mirror an internal one. In this case, Harry is leaving the limitations of the Dursleys' world behind.
And stepping into magic.
Yeah. And the brilliant thing is, we, as readers, we get to experience that sense of wonder and possibility right alongside him.
Even if we're, grown-ups who've read the books a million times.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk about Hogwarts itself. Rowling doesn't just tell us it's a castle, she really makes us feel its grandeur. Those turrets reaching for the sky, secret passageways, moving staircases.
It's amazing, so much to explore. It really sparks your imagination.
It's not just a school building, it's like a living, breathing entity full of history and magic.
It really is. And the architecture, the Gothic arches, the gargoyles.
All those little details add to the mystery and wonder, but also there's a hint of danger there too, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. It's like the castle itself is a character in the story.
Exactly. And just like any good character, it has layers of complexity.
I like that. Okay, so we've arrived. The boats have been docked. Now what? What happens next?
Okay, so picture this. The Great Hall, lit by 1,000 floating candles, ghosts gliding through the air.
Magical.
And then the sorting ceremony begins. This is a huge moment for every Hogwarts student.
It's not just about getting assigned to a dorm, is it? There's got to be more to it.
Oh, absolutely. It's about so much more than just logistics. It's about finding your place, your people. It's about identity.
Okay, so the hat doesn't just randomly pick a house for you.
No, it takes into account your personality traits, your values, even your potential. It's almost like a magical personality test.
Whoa, no pressure or anything.
Right. And have you ever wondered, what if you really didn't want to be in the house you were sorted into? Could you refuse?
Ooh, good question. I mean, we know the hat considers your wishes, right?
Yeah, like Harry saying, not Slytherin. But it also seems to have a sense of destiny, knowing where each student will truly thrive.
Like it sees something we don't.
Maybe it's not just about what we want, but about where we're meant to be.
That's a bit spooky, but also kind of cool. All right, so let's talk about the houses themselves. We've got Gryffindor, known for bravery, chivalry.
Hufflepuff, valued for their loyalty and hard work.
Ravenclaw, the house of wits and intelligence.
And then, of course, Slytherin.
Ah, Slytherin. Ambition, cunning, resourcefulness, right. They seem to have a bit of a bad reputation.
True. But it's important to remember that not all Slytherins are evil. Ambition and power can be used for good or for bad.
It all depends on the individual, right?
Exactly. And that's what makes the sorting ceremony even more interesting, because it's not just about who you are now, but also who you choose to become.
So, taking all that into account, which house do you think Harry's destined for? I mean, we already see his courage, his sense of justice, standing up to bullies like Dudley and Malfoy.
He's definitely got that Gryffindor spirit.
Right. But don't forget, the Sorting Hat almost put him in Slytherin.
That's true. He's got that potential for greatness, but also that darkness within him.
Ooh, I can just imagine the tension in the hall.
Everyone holding their breath, waiting to see where the boy who lived will end up.
And it's not over once he's sorted, is it?
Nope, that's just the beginning. The real journey starts when he begins attending classes, making friends, and facing all the challenges that Hogwarts throws his way.
Right, like mastering spells, figuring out those moving staircases.
Avoiding Peeves the poltergeist.
And let's not forget, Voldemort's out there somewhere.
His shadow looms large over Harry's life.
We've got that mysterious break-in at Gringotts, those rumors about Harry's scar.
It's like the calm before the storm.
You just know something big is coming.
And that tension, that sense of impending danger, it keeps us hooked, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We know Harry's going to face incredible trials, not just tests of his magical ability, but tests of his character.
His courage.
His very soul.
So we've got this idyllic setting, this magical school, but underneath it all, there's this darkness.
It's like those fairy tales, where the forest is beautiful, but also full of danger.
And those fairy tales, they always teach us something, don't they?
They remind us that the world isn't always black and white. It's full of both beauty and darkness. And it's our choices that determine which path we take.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about the castle, the sorting ceremony, the looming threat of Voldemort. But what about Harry's everyday life at Hogwarts? What's it like for him?
Well, that's where the real magic of the story unfolds. And I think that's what we should explore next time.
Sounds good to me. I'm ready to go back to school, the Hogwarts way. All right, so we're back. Last time, we left Harry about to be sorted. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a galleon, right?
It's a real nail biter.
Yeah.
All those eyes on him. The weight of the entire Wizarding world's expectations.
And that sorting hat just sitting there on his head, whispering all those possibilities.
Talk about pressure. So are you ready to find out where he ends up?
Oh, absolutely. Lay it on me.
Well, remember we were talking about how Harry's got qualities that could fit into a few different houses? That bravery, the loyalty.
And that thirst for knowledge, it could have been Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, even Ravenclaw, right?
Exactly. But the sorting hat, it senses something deeper.
I'm on the edge of my seat here.
Okay, drum roll, please. The hat shouts, Gryffindor.
Gryffindor, I knew it!
It just feels right, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. Like, the hat recognized this bravery that maybe even Harry himself didn't fully realize he had yet.
It's a perfect fit. But it's interesting, isn't it, that the hat considered Slytherin too?
Right. It's like it saw that potential for greatness.
But also that potential for darkness.
Yeah.
That's what makes the sorting process so fascinating, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about who we are at that moment, but also about the paths we choose.
And the choices we make along the way.
Exactly. I mean, just imagine if Harry had been put in Slytherin, how different his story might have been.
That's crazy to think about. Okay, so Harry's a Gryffindor now, surrounded by students who value courage and adventure and chivalry.
They're the daredevils, the ones who rush headfirst into danger.
What's everyday life like for Harry in Gryffindor Tower?
Well, it's a whirlwind. Classes, from learning spells to brewing potions, exploring the castle with all its hidden nooks and crannies.
And of course, making those lifelong friendships.
Those bonds are so crucial, especially for Harry. This is where we get to meet Ron, his first real friend.
Loyal Ron. He brings that sense of humor and that down-to-earth practicality, right?
That keeps Harry grounded.
Yeah, because, let's face it, Harry can be a little impulsive sometimes. And then, of course, there's Hermione.
The brilliant one.
She's always got the answer, right? Always reminding them to think things through.
She's that voice of reason, the strategist. Even when they'd rather just charge in, wands blazing.
Together, the three of them, they make such a great team.
Each bringing their own strengths.
The classic recipe for adventure. Remember that scene where they have to face a troll in the dungeons?
Oh, yeah. Talk about a trial by fire.
They only survive because they work together, right? Each one using their unique talents.
That's the power of friendship, right? Overcoming obstacles together.
It's a great message. Of course, Hogwarts isn't all fun and games, is it? They've got those strict teachers, too, like Professor McGonagall.
Professor McGonagall. Don't cross her.
She's tough, but she's fair. She demands a lot from her students, but you can tell she cares about them, too.
She sets high standards.
Yeah, she wants them to be the best they can be. And then, of course, we've got Hagrid.
Hagrid. The gentle giant.
He's got such a soft spot for Harry.
He's like that bridge between the magical world and the muggle world. Always there to offer guidance and support.
A true friend. But we can't forget, amidst all this excitement, that Voldemort is still out there.
Yeah, that shadow hangs over everything.
Right. Even in these early chapters, we get these little reminders that he's not truly gone. That break-in at Gringotts, the whispers about Harry's scar.
It's like a ticking time bomb.
You just know something's going to happen, but you're not sure when.
That tension, that sense of impending danger, it just keeps you on the edge of your seat. And of course, those challenges, those dangers, they're going to shape Harry into the hero he's meant to be.
So it's not just a magical school story, it's a story about facing your fears.
About friendship.
About good versus evil.
About finding your place in the world.
And on that note, I think we've come to the end of our deep dive into Harry's first trip to Hogwarts.
But his journey is just beginning.
We've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about the Dursleys, Platform 9 3/4,
Weasley,
the sorting ceremony, the challenges of Hogwarts life, and of course the looming threat of Voldemort.
We've explored themes of courage and friendship and the power of choice. And we've seen how the magical world of Harry Potter reflects our own human experiences, our hopes and fears, our triumphs and struggles.
But even in the face of darkness, there's always magic to be found.
If you know where to look. And who knows, maybe there's a little bit of magic within each of us, just waiting to be discovered.
So until next time, keep the magic alive.